That shooting happened around here near 131st and Langley. Luckily, the victim, an 18-year-old woman, was not hurt. Take a look. That's the bus she was in, right next to an ambulance. There are at least 3 bullet holes on the driver's side of the windshield. Another window on the side of that bus is also
This is the wildest part of the hunters. We run the hunters. We run the hunters.
Hey, why y'all say this the wildest part of the hunters?
This the wildest part.
On Altgeld Gardens, gang. Real talent out here, gang, you know?
Nah, but we gotta work too, though. We can't just say niggas sleeping, niggas gotta work.
Chicago's Riverdale neighborhood, located on the far south side, has long been one of the city's most isolated and overlooked communities. Best known for housing projects like Altgeld Gardens and the Philip Murray homes, Riverdale was originally developed in the 1940s to provide safe housing for African American World War II veterans. While the area once thrived on nearby industrial jobs and strong community bonds, decades of economic decline, environmental neglect, and systemic disinvestment opened the door to deep-rooted gang activity. Today, Altgeld Gardens is home to a complex network of street organizations, including sets of the Black Disciples, Gangster Disciples, and Black P. Stones, each with their own histories, rivalries, and cultural impact. This article offers a comprehensive breakdown of the gangs operating in and around Altgeld Gardens, tracing their origins, influence, and the toll they've taken on the community, while also spotlighting notable figures and tragic losses that continue to define the area's legacy.
You know, I'm afraid to walk past Block 8 after 7 o'clock because I'm afraid that some of the gangbangers might try to find me or something. They might try to jump on me. You see what I'm saying? But they do that too. You know, they shoot at random.
New details now in the shooting of 3 people at Altgeld Gardens. 16-year-old Makai Rodriguez was in the shooting Sunday. 2 more teens were also shot.
Shots fired between 2 this morning on 131st Street near South Evans. After officers arrived, they exchanged gunfire and the suspect ran away but was taken into custody moments later.
Altgeld Gardens, nestled in Chicago's Riverdale neighborhood, was established in 1944 to house African American World War II veterans during a time of deep segregation and racial tension. Built on mostly vacant land, the complex originally featured 1,498 units, later expanding in 1954 with the addition of 500 more homes under the name Philip Murray Homes. Altgeld stood out as one of the few housing developments built specifically for Black families, offering stability, nearby industrial jobs, and a strong, self-sustaining sense of community, despite the open hostility from surrounding white neighborhoods. But by the 1970s, the landscape shifted. As local factories shut down and job opportunities vanished, Altgeld fell into economic decline. With unemployment came poverty, and with poverty came crime. Street gangs, vice lords, Black P. Stones, Black Disciples, and Gangster Disciples moved in and took hold. Violence escalated, and Altgeld Gardens quickly gained a reputation as one of the most dangerous sections of the far south side, often referred to as part of the infamous Wild 100s. At the same time, residents were being exposed to severe environmental hazards. Toxic waste from nearby industrial plants poisoned the soil and water, while the buildings themselves were laced with asbestos and other hazardous materials. Cancer rates rose, families got sick. In 1985, a young community organizer named Barack Obama stepped into the fight, helping residents take legal action to demand the removal of dangerous materials, a battle that ultimately led to some much-needed reform. Today, parts of Altgeld Gardens have been renovated, but many of the original issues persist. Crime, gang activity, and environmental risks continue to impact the daily lives of those who call it home. Yet despite decades of hardship, the people of Altgeld Gardens remain resilient, still fighting for justice, safety, and a better future.
Motherfuckers is really sleep on Altgeld Gardens, gang. Real talent out here, gang, you know?
Nah, but we gotta work too, though. We can't just say niggas sleeping, niggas gotta work.
I'm feeling good, man, out here. The kids out, this bitch lit up. We having fun, it's the trenches. Shit, we gotta make sure it's safe for the kids.
AMG, An acronym for Altgeld Gardens is a black disciple set deeply rooted in the Riverdale section on Chicago's far south side. The crew controls blocks 8 and 9 of the historic Altgeld Gardens housing projects, an area known for its long-standing street presence and turbulent gang dynamics. AMG's biggest rivals are the Gangster Disciples, especially the nearby Barnones set. The tension between these factions has sparked numerous conflicts over the years, adding to the area's reputation for violence and territorial warfare. Despite the challenges, AMG has produced notable voices who channeled their environment into music and storytelling. One of the most prominent was AMG Fresh, a rapper whose raw lyricism and authenticity earned him respect in Chicago's underground scene. Fresh was considered a rising star, known for painting vivid pictures of life in the gardens. Tragically, his life was cut short on October 25, 2019, in a fatal shooting, leaving behind a legacy that still echoes in the streets he came from. Alongside him, AMG Bell D continues to carry the flag for the set, using music as a voice for the block and a tribute to those lost. Together, they represent a generation shaped by struggle, loyalty, and a relentless drive to be heard. Tentown, also known as the Glock Boys, is a gangster disciple set firmly established in Block 10 of the Altgeld Gardens housing projects. Known for their presence and militant street energy, this crew has deep roots in the GD movement and plays a major role in holding down their section of Riverdale. Their name, Tentown, not only reflects their home turf, but also carries weight in the streets, representing both loyalty to the Folks Nation and a reputation for being active and respected in the field. Pirate Gang is a black pea stone set based out of blocks 1 and 2 in the heart of Altgeld Gardens. With deep neighborhood roots and a strong presence, Pirate Gang has built a name for itself through both street activity and cultural influence. One of the set's standout voices is Panamera Fresh, a rapper who proudly reps Pirate Gang in his music. Through his lyrics and presence, he continues to shine a light on the struggles, pride, and reality of life in the gardens, keeping the block's name alive both locally and beyond.
This is the wildest part of the hunters.
We
right
run
here.
the hunters.
We run the hunters.
Hey, why y'all say this the wildest part of the hunters?
This the wildest part. This the option right
Hey
here.
man, I don't do all that.
We ain't doing it, but this what that folks that let you know what's going on, how close
sure.
this is on the guy.
Dang, yeah, for sure.
This the Z. We all we got. We all we need. All family right here.
For sure.
Asking what's the difference between the Z's and the Bath?
Yeah.
I told you, ain't no difference.
9 Block, also known as GMD, is a black disciple set located within the Altgeld Gardens housing projects on Chicago's far south side. Holding down their section with pride, 9 Block has built a strong identity within the gardens, contributing to the area's long-standing black disciple presence. In August 2021, CM, an 18-year-old affiliated with 9 Block in Altgeld Gardens, was shot and met his demise during a late-night shootout on East 132nd Street. According to prosecutors, the incident began when his friend, DeMonte Mitchell, also of 9 Block, allegedly opened fire on a man standing in a nearby parking lot. The man returned fire, striking C murder in the neck. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Surveillance footage reportedly showed Mitchell firing a weapon and fleeing the scene, losing his shoes in the process. 2 security guards chased him down and detained him. Though no weapon was recovered, gunshot residue was found on Mitchell's hands. At the time of the shooting, Mitchell was already out on bond for multiple felony charges, including gun possession, drug distribution, and aggravated assault with a stolen vehicle. Despite prosecutors stating he fired the first shot in the exchange that led to CM's death, Mitchell was only charged with unlawful possession of a weapon by a felon. In the early hours of a summer morning in 2016, CJ, a 17-year-old affiliated with Zone 39 Block in Altgeld Gardens, tragically met his demise in a shooting in Chicago's Riverdale neighborhood. According to Chicago police, CJ and a 41-year-old man were standing outside in the 300 block of East 130th Street around 2:20 a.m. when they suddenly came under fire. Both were struck by the gunshots. CJ, whose real name was Corey Buckner, was transported to Christ Medical Center in Oak Lawn with a gunshot wound to the head. He was pronounced dead at 7:57 a.m. The older man was also wounded, but survived after his condition was stabilized. Police initially arrested a suspect in connection with the shooting, but the individual was later released without charges. CJ's death was one of several tragedies to strike 9 Block and the wider Altgeld Gardens community, an area long impacted by gang violence and systemic neglect. Doya, a 22-year-old Black Disciple affiliate with close ties to GMD, Duffle Gang, and Zone 3, tragically met his demise in a daylight shooting on Chicago's far south side. On the morning of the incident, April 7, 2022, Doya, whose real name was Moses Van Pelt, was sitting inside a parked vehicle in the 13,200 block of South Greenwood in the Riverdale neighborhood. Around 11:10 a.m., a gray SUV pulled up beside him. Multiple individuals were reportedly inside, and at least one of them opened fire. Van Pelt was struck multiple times in the abdomen, buttocks, and knee. He was rushed to Christ Medical Center in Oak Lawn, where he fought for his life for several hours before being pronounced dead at 7:30 p.m. Van Pelt was a known figure in his circles, with connections to 9 Block. His death marked yet another painful loss for the community, which continues to be plagued by retaliatory violence and unresolved conflict. Duffle Gang AMG, a Black Disciple set located on 130th and Champlain in the Altgeld Gardens housing projects. Block 17, home to the Barnones, is a Gangster Disciples set based in the Altgeld Gardens housing projects on Chicago's far south side. Known for their long-standing presence in the neighborhood, the Barnones have played a major role in shaping the street landscape within the gardens. The set is also connected to local rap talent, including Bob Halo, who represents Block 17 and uses music to tell stories from his side of the city. In 2022, 17-year-old Alex Spikes, a known member of Block 17 bar known as Gangster Disciples, met his demise during a violent shootout at the Connect, a store near the Altgeld Gardens housing projects on Chicago's far south side. Around 9:30 p.m., Alex and 3 others entered the store armed with an AK-47 and handguns and began firing. A security guard inside the store, believed to be Michael Banks, returned fire, fatally shooting Alex. The group briefly fled but returned to retrieve his body, exchanging more gunfire before transporting him to a hospital where he was pronounced dead. The shooting resulted in the deaths of 3 others. A 39-year-old woman was also critically injured. The suspects were arrested in the hospital parking lot shortly after the incident, and prosecutors charged all 3 surviving gunmen with 4 counts of first-degree deletion and aggravated battery. Though it's unclear if Alex and Alfred Spikes were related, records show they shared an address where police later recovered firearms linked to the shooting. The event further highlights the ongoing cycle of gun violence surrounding Altgeld Gardens and its affiliated gang factions. On a cold November night in 2019, a coordinated group of 7 armed men, allegedly affiliated with Block 17 bar, none a Gangster Disciple faction in Altgeld Gardens, set out on what prosecutors described as a military-style operation. The crew, moving in 2-man teams, swept through courtyards and basketball courts near 132nd Street, using hand signals and covering one another in search of rivals from the duffel bag, take some set of the Black Disciples based in Block 9. Instead of encountering enemies, they crossed paths with Kimberly Underwood, a 53-year-old grandmother of 11, who was pulling into her parking spot. Prosecutors said multiple members of the group, including Devonde York, opened fire on her Mitsubishi Galant without provocation. She met her demise instantly in the barrage of gunfire, just 2 weeks shy of her 54th birthday. Surveillance footage and neighborhood camera systems played a key role in the investigation. Authorities used color-coded mapping software to track the movements of each shooter and linked York to the scene through phone records, eyewitnesses, and social media footage. where he was seen wearing the same hoodie as during the shooting. York, 27, was arrested and charged with first-degree deletion. During a bond hearing, the judge called the ambush something out of a movie and denied York bail based on overwhelming evidence. The other 6 gunmen remain under investigation, while York is scheduled to return to court. The tragic demise of Kimberly Underwood, a bystander with no ties to gang activity, shocked the community and her family, who described her as loving, hardworking, and taken far too soon. Located near 132nd and Indiana, Ghouly Gang is a Black Disciple set based out of the Riverside Village apartments, just outside the official boundaries of Altgeld Gardens housing projects. Ghouly Gang has built a strong reputation in the streets and local music scene.
He gets nervous and clutches his pipe after some Atlanta YNs ride past him. He knew the road was a dead end, so he made sure to keep his eyes on them the whole way while clutching, and this what he does next.
They on some weird. They know that's a dead end too. They finna double back.
Well, we gone.
What do y'all think them YNs were?
The neighborhood has produced notable figures such as Chucky Wackham, a rising rapper signed to Lil Durk's Oat If Only the Family label, known for his energetic style and viral tracks like King Tut. He's gained a growing fan base through both music releases and a strong TikTok presence. Also from the area is 16 Shotum, a prominent Chicago videographer and YouTuber behind 16 Shotum Visuals. Known for interviewing drill artists and capturing raw street visuals, he's become a key figure in documenting Chicago's underground hip-hop and street culture. On August 30th, 2016, Mick D, a known member of Ghouly Gang, was tragically shot and met his demise while sitting in a vehicle in Chicago's Gresham neighborhood on the South Side. His real name, Jamar Carter, was confirmed by the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office. According to police, Carter was in a parked car near 8000 block of South May Street around 8:55 p.m. when a gunman entered the back seat and shot him. The shooter attempted to flee the scene in the vehicle, but another person inside managed to pull the gunman out and drive Carter to Little Company of Mary Hospital in Evergreen Park. Due to the severity of his injuries, Carter was later transferred to Stroger Hospital, where he met his demise. The shooting is believed to be gang-related, and Carter was listed by police as a documented gang member. The second individual in the vehicle reportedly refused to cooperate with investigators, and as of now, no arrests have been confirmed. Mick D's death marked another painful chapter in the violence impacting Chicago's far south side. Dutchie D was a well-respected Black disciple affiliated with GND, Duffle Gang, and Ghouly Gang, representing the Altgeld Gardens area. Known for his loyalty and presence in the community, Dutchie was someone who carried respect both in the streets and among his peers. Sadly, he passed away in 2014 due to natural causes, leaving behind a legacy remembered by many in his section. HGM, a conservative vice lord and Black P. Stone set located on blocks 5 and 6 in the Altgeld Gardens projects. Altgeld Gardens, like many public housing developments across America, was born from a vision of hope and stability, a place meant to uplift working-class Black families and returning war veterans. But as industries collapsed, jobs vanished, and city resources dried up, the promise of progress gave way to isolation, decay, and systemic neglect. That vacuum was quickly filled by street gangs, who brought structure, power, and survival, but also fear, violence, and tragedy. What makes the story of Altgeld Gardens particularly profound is the depth of its contradictions. It is a place of both community pride and street warfare. It's where grassroots organizing once caught the attention of a young Barack Obama, and also where some of Chicago's most dangerous gang rivalries still play out on a daily basis. Here, gangs like AMG, GMD/9 Block, Tentown, Pirate Gang, and the Bar None GDs are more than just names. They are ecosystems of identity, survival, and, often, loss. Many of these sets have also produced rappers and cultural figures who use music and visuals to share their reality with the world, bridging the gap between the streets and the spotlight. But while some have used art and media to rise above the violence, far too many others have been consumed by it. The list of young lives cut short, like C Murder, CJ, B-Boy, Mick D, and Doya, serve as painful reminders of a cycle that feels never-ending. Innocent victims like Kimberly Underwood show that the violence doesn't always stay within gang lines. In Riverdale, even pulling into your driveway can become a fatal moment. And yet, the community remains, holding vigils, creating music, documenting their truths, and continuing to fight for cleaner air, safer streets, and a voice in a city that too often ignores them. The Riverdale of today is scarred but not broken. It is a place where systemic failures meet fierce local resilience. While gang presence continues to shape much of its narrative, it's important not to overlook the residents, artists, activists, and everyday families who still believe in the potential for something better. Altgeld Gardens isn't just a battleground, it's also a home. And the people who live there, through all the hardship, continue to represent strength, memory, and the hope that their story will one day change.